the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. It's a quote that I think everybody and their grandma has heard before at this point, right? And people have many reasons that they could fear or be afraid or stress or be anxious about, whether that be because of work, school, or even anything that's going on in your personal life at all, right? But the thing is, you could spend as much time as you want stressing about it or worrying over it, but that anxiety that you get and the amount of energy that you put into that anxiety really could be used someplace else, instead of being wasted on the fear of nothing, really. Because for the most part, fear happens in your mind more than it actually happens in the real world. And for most situations, personally, from my experience and just like from what I've seen from other people, the fear that happens in your mind ends up being a lot worse than the situation that you're actually worrying about when it actually comes to be. And for the most part, the actual problem happens within your mind, and it takes place mentally more than it actually does in the real world, right? And the thing is, your mind makes situations look a lot worse because your mind is too busy overthinking about it and just like worrying about the situation. And you think like, the situation, it must be this bad. Oh, it feels awful. I think the situation, it has to be like this. Like, it is probably gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen. It's this bad. It's just wasting your energy, because instead of doing that, you could put your energy into living your best life and just like figuring out your steps onto the way to the destination, rather than just ruining the journey on the way there. So for example, if you know something bad is going to happen, or you know something's going to have to end eventually and you're having a good time, but you know something's going to have to end, so why would you waste your time being sad knowing that the good time is going to end, instead of just enjoying the good time, and then you can worry about it when it actually comes, right? This is going to be a weird example, but take the horror game Five Nights at Freddy's, for example, right? So with Five Nights at Freddy's, you know it's a horror game, and like, it's supposed to be scary, right? So when you play the game, it's really scary for you. But I guarantee you, if I just played you a jump scare right now, you probably wouldn't be scared. Because the jump scare on its own is not inherently scary, because like, it is a horror game and it's supposed to be scary, right? But the jump scare itself is not very scary, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of horror games. And because the jump scare itself is just a video of this giant fluffy robot jumping at you and opening its mouth. There's nothing to be that scared about, right? Because it's just a giant robot jumping at you. But if I were to make the atmosphere as scary as the actual game were, and I were to make everything dark and ominous, scary and really quiet and soft, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more scary. Now, I'm not going to actually play the jump scare here, but I can almost guarantee you that just the anticipation of the jump scare coming was scarier to you than the actual jump scare itself. And this applies to most of your problems in life, because I would just end up not enjoying my last few years with my friends at all, my last few moments with them. Of course, worry about it, but don't worry about it to the point where you are unable to enjoy your present moment. Take my advice with a grain of salt, but just never allow your imagination to take over and make it way worse than the situation really is. Take care of yourselves, and just make sure you win your mental battles. If you have a person who has control over their mind, has control over their life.